It's raining. Doesn't look like it's gonna rain for very long, but it's raining now. So let's see what happens this time, because this feed has been heavily censored today. And, you know, it's not how things work. Okay? You don't get thousands and thousands of views and then just stops. It doesn't work that way. But I did want to talk about today the Nation of Islam. And we're going to talk about, I didn't finish my thing yesterday on Fard Muhammad or whatever his name is. But I did want to look up Elijah Muhammad. Because that's how it started. And it took me to Fard Muhammad right afterward, right away. But I think this is a crazy sort of, this is the more popular of the story. Fard Muhammad was clearly a bad guy. Like when you look at his pictures, if I told you the founder of the Nation of Islam, the Black Muslims, was started by a bad guy, you wouldn't believe me. You usually pop up in my live streams, but today I looked for this channel. Well, you should be looking for this channel. This is the truth channel. I don't know anybody else that's telling the truth like I am. There are a lot of people that might tell you snippets or pieces of but for the most part, everybody's still distracted or pushing some element of the program, and it's fucked up. So, don't show my sources. Elijah Muhammad, born Elijah Robert Poole, October 7th, 1897, February 25th, 1975. Was an American religious leader, a black separatist, a self-proclaimed messenger of Allah who led the Nation of Islam from 1933 until his death in 1975. Elijah Muhammad was also the teacher and mentor of Malcolm X, Louis Farrakhan, Muhammad Ali, and his son, Raif Deen Muhammad. In the 1930s, Muhammad formally established the Nation of Islam, but he didn't. A religious movement that originated under the leadership and teachings of Wallace Fard Muhammad. Let me just show you real quick. This is the guy that started the Black Muslims. Especially that middle picture. Doesn't he look like a young Netanyahu? Isn't that strange? I mean, again, it's like, I get a lot of you disagree with me because you're stupid. But what do you say about that? If I told you that was the leader of the black Muslims, the Nation of Islam was founded by that guy, would you believe me? I mean, it's like it's a joke, right? And the thing is, he sort of appears in the historical context at around age 31, is active for about 3.5, 4 years, and then disappears. And that's just it. That's it. Like, it's so fucking strange. Why would anybody believe it? Henry Arthur, what's happening? And the funny thing is, again, where is the Nation of Islam in all of this? I sure haven't heard a lot of Nation of Islam talk or protests or action or anything when it comes to any of this. Teachings of Fard that promoted black power, pride, economic empowerment, and racial separation. Elijah Muhammad taught that Master Fard Muhammad is the Son of Man of the Bible, and after Fard's disappearance in 1934, Muhammad assumed control over Fard's former ministry, formally changing its name to the Nation of Islam. It's not how Fard's narrative is told, but okay. Under Muhammad's leadership, the Nation of Islam grew from a small local black congregation into an influential worldwide movement. 25,000 strong is not that small. He was unique in his combination of black nationalism with traditional Islamic themes. Muhammad promoted black self-sufficiency and self-reliance over integration, and he encouraged African Americans to create a separate state of their own. And you have to you have to take notice of the fact that the person that's not pushing integration, the person that's pushing racist, separatist, prejudice bullshit, that's the one that gets elevated. You have to remember, no one gets elevated without the approval of the bad guys. The bad guys who own the media and the distribution networks for their information to be pushed. They're all just, this is bullshit. When you look up Fard's story, Fard's narrative is basically the exact same one as is used in the Malcolm X bullshit. Like in that Spike Lee movie X. It sounds like Fard's story. It's the same shit. But it's like clearly these bad guys, these chosen bad guys, presented this as a control mechanism for the black people to continue to, make them a separate enemy, a boogeyman. And they knew it scared white people, something fierce. The militant black Muslims, they scare the shit out of average white person. And they did it like on purpose. Like it's even like look at Public Enemy. Why would Public Enemy have been elevated to the position they were? Right? Think about that. They were supposedly, opposed the system and spoke out, and they were the scary black Muslims. They were the militant. They used to walk out. They'd have, the guys walk out in their black berets and march all militant style, right? Because they knew that would scare white people. White people are cowardly. They're very, very cowardly when they're not being protected. And take notice of the comments. Always take notice of the comments. Always notice how nobody seems to be able to argue anything I'm saying. They just say dumb shit, trying to get attention. Muhammad also rejected the civil rights movement for its emphasis on integration, instead promoting a separate black community. Where was this supposed to take place? Iran has the right to defend itself. But at the same time, I just can't help but There's something not right about it. Why isn't Iran just dropping the big bomb? Why did Iran sit by for 2 years while the Palestinians were being destroyed, knowing that they were the next target, and they did nothing? Something isn't right about it. Muhammad's views on race and his call for blacks having an independent nation for themselves made him a controversial figure both within and outside the Nation of Islam. He has been variously described as a black nationalist and a black supremacist. You know, this guy who doesn't look black at all. But sure. Muhammad died on February 25th, 1975, after a period of declining health. He was succeeded as head of the Nation of Islam by his son, Wallace Muhammad, who renamed the organization as the World Community of Al-Islam in the West. Wallace Muhammad later changed his name as part of his own tradition to Sunni Islam and is known now as Imam Wraith Deen Muhammad. Because, you know, like, how many people watching me have had multiple names that they've been known by throughout history? They've had multiple names. None of you. It's fucking stupid. Yeah, you know who always does? Bad guys. Every prime minister of bad guy land has had a name change. Their name was something like Mikulkowski or, you know, something obviously not Semitic in origin, and they changed it to sound more Semitic. It's really fucking crazy. Elijah Muhammad was born Elijah Robert Poole in Sandersville, Georgia on October 7th, 1897, the seventh of 13 children of William Poole, 1868 to 1942, a Baptist lay preacher and sharecropper, and Mariah Hall, 1873 to 1858, a homemaker and sharecropper. Elijah's education ended at the 4th grade after he went to work in sawmills and brickyards. To support the family, he worked with his parents as a sharecropper. When he was 16 years old, he left home and began working in factories and at other businesses. Elijah married Carla Evans, 1899 to 1972, on March 7th, 1917. In 1923, the Poole family was among hundreds of thousands of black families forming the first Great Migration, leaving the oppressive and economically troubled South in search of safety and employment. Elijah later recounted that before the age of 20, he had witnessed the lynchings of 3 black men by white people. He said, "I've seen enough of the white man's brutality to last me 26,000 years." That's an interesting figure. Especially since 26,000 years is said to be the big cycle in the, the 2012 bullshit, you know, the Mayan calendar bullshit. 26,000 years is said to be, so there's 13,000 good years and 13,000 bad years. And in December 21st, 2012, is when the bad cycle ended and the good cycle supposedly began. I love how people say shit like, "Oh my God, that this guy," like somebody made them come to this feed. They have, you know, thousands and thousands of choices on here that they could watch. They could watch TV, they could watch the news, they could watch Hulu, they could watch any of it. But they choose to come here and then act like they're the victim. Sounds like the bad guys. Sounds like a typical chosen trick. Oh, it was a preemptive strike. We didn't attack, it was a preemptive strike. You know, we're the victims. Oh yeah, we're the victims. Yeah, so what, all those children are dying? You know, so what that prior to October 7th, which was a false flag, and none of them died, none of them were taken hostage. So I'll just just fucking fantasy bullshit. But prior to October 7th, Bad Guy Land had killed at least 240 civilians. I never remember if it's 243 or 273. So I conservatively say 240 civilians illegally in their illegal nightly raids, attacking. And then when defending themselves, supposedly Hamas attacked and killed around 1,200 people, around 1,100 people, depending. People in Bad Guy Land, not bad guys, but people in Bad Guy Land. That's justified. Well, they're just defending themselves now. The hundreds of thousands of people that have been killed, the children that keep getting killed, that's just them defending themselves. Moving his own family, parents, and siblings, Elijah and the Pools settled in the industrial north of Hamtramck, Michigan, which again, you have to ask yourself, this is the 1920s? How? How did they move from, what was it, Georgia? Yeah, from Georgia to Michigan. How did he have the financial ability to move his entire family, all 13 siblings and parents and all that, up here to Michigan? How did that work? You see this so much in these old-timey stories where people just moved across the country. Fard Muhammad his teacher was said to have appeared in Chicago in the 1930s. Well, actually, no, he appeared in Oregon in the 1930s. And he was born, he was like 31 years old when he just appeared. I'm getting my dates wrong, but he was like 31 years old. Well, if you support Trump, you must hate America, because Trump clearly does. But how do you prefer your dudes to look? You like your dudes with a clean-shaven face and like shorter hair? Is that what you're saying? Yep. Look at how we have this guy's like, you're reading. I don't like reading. I want to take me to the ice dealer because I don't like when people read stuff. I don't like learning. Like it's so funny to me that these people honestly think this is the stupidity. This is, if you open up the books on Bad Guy Land, you demonize Bad Guy Land. It's that sort of dumbass mentality. Mm-hmm. Why does Trump hate America? I don't know. But he clearly does. He definitely hates the First Amendment. It's so crazy to me how all of the America First dumbass Trumpanzees just aren't paying attention to that. The First Amendment, like our free speech, free press, freedom of religion, freedom to assemble, freedom to redress your grievances with your government, that thing that makes us America, Trump is destroying it to protect a foreign country who's committing genocide using American-made materials and weapons and finances and all that against another foreign country. This dumbass says, so in Little Rock there's a submarine, you can go see it. Duh. Yeah, because if you see a submarine in a museum somewhere, that means it must be real. It must work. So stupid. Like, this is what I'm saying. That this person thought that was a good argument? How? How does that make sense to you? You know, you could go anywhere and see UFOs and big giant robots and shit like that. Like, people have made models of all kinds of shit. But you saw a model, so that means it's true. Like, how stupid does that you have to be? You think rioting is free speech and peaceful? Yep. I think responding to being attacked. But see, this is a point I saw the other day that really sort of blew my mind, because you've seen how the Trump administration has, because of their attack on the First Amendment, attacked those who were protesting peacefully, attacking free speech, and championing genocide. For the last 2 years, the Trump administration has been telling us that violent genocide is a good thing. That people expressing themselves through incredible violence is a good, positive thing. And that people that are peacefully protesting are the bad guys. So what do you expect? We're just following the lead. But see, again, your average Trumpanzee just doesn't want to acknowledge that. Your average Trumpanzee just says stupid shit. Like, again, not one of them is going to address the whole First Amendment thing. If you're such a full red-blooded American and you care, like you should be furious that your free speech is being taken away from you. That your First Amendment is being destroyed, especially to protect a foreign country that we give trillions of dollars to. That we're literally about to go into a war where American kids are going to die in huge numbers because crazy ass Netanyahu says we should. I mean, you saw Trump pulling out and pushing in Netanyahu's chair for him, right? You're not going to show me the video where Netanyahu did that to Trump, especially not in his own country. But look at how dumb these people are. Look at how every single one of these comments just refuses to address things. Oh, it's my fault I show up in the feed. You can't tell YouTube that you don't want to see this anymore, right? That's not how things work. You have to click on it because it's in your feed. Like, just the stupidity it takes to oppose me is so obvious. And of course they're all dumbass Christians. Of course they're all dumbass Trump supporters. You don't see too many non-Trump supporters here talking shit, do you? It's fucking scary, man. It's scary how stupid we are. America first, America first. Yet let's give bad guy land $3.8 billion a year as a base, as the base salary. There's going to be a lot of other bonuses and freebies that come along the way. But they get a $3.8 billion lump sum paycheck every year, which turns into 15 billion shekels. Their money. And we just, our roads are fucked up. Our veterans are on the streets and homeless. Drug programs are shutting down. There's not like an official like government pedo hunt. Like, there's the Trump made the task force on combating anti-Semitism, spelled the old way.
What's the topic?
Same thing it always is.
Trump, the criminal. He is a criminal. He is definitely a criminal. Oh, look at it outside. The first day of summer. It's technically last night into today. And it's raining. So they said that our gas prices are all supposed to go up by about 25 cents to the gallon. I'm assuming it's supposed to be sometime this week. I don't know. But according to our buddy Trump, gas prices are down. Grocery prices are down. Energy prices are down. I don't know where he's living, because here they are not. We got our water bill. Freaking highway robbery for water. But the gas prices are down. I know.
Where are the gas prices now?
Gas prices are down. Grocery prices are down. Energy costs are down. The economy's looking great.
Where? Where does that happen? Just such insanity. And that's the thing, like Trumpanzees aren't even good on their own word, right? Like, he didn't lower the gas prices. He didn't lower the food prices. Those were the things that he ran on. I'm going to lower the gas prices. And it's all Biden's fault. It's Biden and Kamala's fault that the gas and food prices are so high. And I'm going to lower them. And it just doesn't happen. I can end all the wars with one phone call. The things that the Trumpanzees used to say before he got elected, every argument they made hasn't come true. It's just insane. You know, it's just insane. And it's so fucking strange that people continue to lie, like these people lying on here. Oh, I filled my tank for $30 yesterday. So you're saying where you are, gas prices are like $1 a gallon? Because your average tank is going to be like 30 to 40 gallons. So what are you driving that enables you to fill your tank for $30 a gallon? Like, you're too stupid to even think about it. If you would have said like $60, $65, $70, that would have made more sense. But you're going to take it to that extreme that you filled your tank for $30. It just doesn't, that's not how it works. Even if your gas tank was only 15 gallons, that would mean you paid $2 per gallon. You show me where it's $2 per gallon. It's fucking stupid. It's just stupid shit. The you know, and of course, so many of these profiles are Team Jorge style bots. It's been shown time and time again how the majority of the time when you're arguing on social media, you're arguing with bots, without real people. And I've been saying this for months now. Any of you, especially you returning trolls, the ones that come here day after day after day and spend hours after hour after hour desperately trying to get my attention, I've said to you guys over and over again, just make a video. Just make a short, or make a, you know, I don't think you could say it all in 30 seconds. Just make a short video talking about how stupid and terrible I am. Guy Williams is terrible. Guy Williams sucks. Guy Williams is the worst. Anything you can think of along those lines, and send it to me. Show me how you're a real person. And guess what? Not a single fucking one of you has taken me up on that. Not a single one of you has taken me up on that. Why? Why won't you guys make videos proving you're real people? It seems pretty obvious to me. And then you see this, you ain't worth it. Right. I'm not worth making a video proving you're a real person, but I am worth watching my feed every single day for hours on end, desperately trying to get my attention. That makes so much sense if you're a dumb bad guy. You know, if you're an inbred chosen piece of shit, then yeah, that probably makes sense to you. But the average person, that's not going to make sense to. It just seems like it's so, like, you don't have any other way of proving anything. This is something you could actually prove. You could prove me wrong. I'd look like a fool. You could also make me look like a fool. Now, you'll get the other people who'll be like, you just want that to go viral. Because all these dumb, arrogant pieces of shit think if they just make a video about me, it's going to go viral. How? If you can make videos that go viral, you should be making good money off of YouTube, making videos that go viral. And or, after I see the video, you could just delete it. Be that simple too. Yet not one of you has the balls to show your face, to show that you're one, like to identify yourself, because we all know you're pedophiles and you're genocide supporters, and you're not proud enough about those things to actually out yourself and show your identity as a pedophile or as a genocide supporter. Yep, yeah, look at all these comments. Look at how fucking desperately stupid it is. It's amazing. It really is amazing, and it's extremely telling. You know, the other day I spent the day trying to find legitimate videos showing the October 7th attack, proving that happened. We're talking about one of the most heavily surveilled areas in the region. Trillions of dollars in security and surveillance and all that has been sent there from us. And yet on this one day, it all failed. And there's no proof of it. The videos will show you people, you know, escaping the music festival that supposedly was going down. And what they do is they get out of their car that can go 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 miles an hour. That's made of metal to protect them. They get out of their car so they can run away from bullets. How the fuck would you, like, how does that make sense to anybody? In what world does it make sense to get out of your car to run away from the scene as opposed to driving away from it? But this is the bullshit that they want you to believe. There's literally, like, there's supposedly a couple of videos of people getting kidnapped, which are clearly staged. Nobody ever asks, where did all these bad guys get their brand new white Toyotas? How come every car that's used in the music festival narrative is either white or like a grayish color? No red cars, you know, no beige cars, no blue cars, nothing like that. It's just all white and gray cars. Like, I'm looking up and down my street and I see 1, 2, 3 red cars, 1, 2, 3 blue cars. There are some gray cars, there are some white cars, there's a couple of tan cars. Like, it's interesting how that works, right? At least we have somebody on here that's at least kind of admitting to being racist. They get those brand new Toyotas by entering a country illegally and being subsidized by them. That's the dumbass shit that this guy believes, right? That's how dumb this is. And you wonder why I don't read the comments. One, because not very few of them actually address what's being said. But when they do, that's the dumbass shit they talk about. I just, this is what you see consistently. Just a bunch of bigots, a bunch of cowardly bigots. Every single one of these bitches is a coward. Well, all these profiles are manned by cowards, I should say. The center that the cell phones are all is run by cowards. And just so people don't get it twisted here, let's just show you, because I know how you guys don't like evidence and you like ignoring evidence, but I like providing it. So we're gonna look up Team Jorge. Team Jorge is the name given to an outfit of Bad Guy Land, the ones that are at war with Iran right now, Bad Guy Land, are an outfit of Bad Guy Land contractors specialized in the use of malign cyber activities, including hacking, sabotage, and bot farm social media disinformation campaigns to manipulate the outcomes of elections. And for all those that'll get hung up on that shit, so they can manipulate the outcomes of elections, but you don't think they can manipulate or interfere with a random person's YouTube feed? One of the organization's primary tools is a software package called AIMS, Advanced Impact Media Solutions. The group was exposed in February of 2023. Gosh, that's weird. 2023, such a significant year in this whole thing. 2023, after an award-winning undercover operation by journalists from Bad Guy Land and France, as part of a consortium of investigative journalists coordinated by Forbidden Stories, the organization has been active since at least 2015 and boasts of having manipulated 33 presidential elections worldwide. Don't worry, many of them were in Africa. And in 27 cases with successful results. Gotta love that they throw that 33 in there. Their activities were revealed following a 2022 sting operation in Tel Aviv, carried out by 3 undercover journalists who posed as prospective clients and filmed their interactions with Tal Hanan, the group's leader and former Bad Guy Land Special Forces operative, in which he explained the inner workings of the organization. According to Hanan, the group's leader, Team Jorge has existed for more than 2 decades and has been engaged in propaganda and disinformation activities in more than 30 countries. However, its first documented activity dates back to 2015. Their services have been available to government intelligence agencies, political campaigns, and private companies that wish to covertly manipulate public opinion. Look, notice how there's no opposition to what's being said here. And anybody that claims to be a red-blooded American, understand that, this is the acknowledgement that Bad Guy Land controls social media. And yet all of these Americans don't seem to mind. Isn't that strange? One of the organization's primary tools is a software package called Advanced Impact Media Solutions, or AIMS. The software automates centralized control of thousands of fake social media profiles on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Telegram, TikTok, and others, including YouTube. The group also employs hacking techniques to brute force accounts of potential victims. So wait, you want to see something else that's really interesting? Act.il. Act.il was a social networking service used by supporters of Bad Guy Land to oppose online anti-Bad Guy Land content, such as the Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions Movement, BDS. Its activities were referred to as an online propaganda machine and a virtual situation room for pro-bad guy experts. Act.il directed its users to missions to like, comment on, and share pro-Bad Guy Land material on social media. It also asked users to flag, report, and respond to criticisms of Bad Guy Land. Users were guided on how to respond, which might entail writing a reply using the provided talking points or sharing or upvoting an allied comment. The app also provided users with ready-made memes. Oh shit. That wind. With ready-made memes promoting Bad Guy Land's perspective for them to share. By completing missions, users earned points, unlocked badges, and had their scores displayed on leaderboards. Gosh, listen to me ramble by reading you the evidence that exists. Not only did I just read you the evidence that shows you that they use bot farms to attack people like me, but they also employ the real bad guys to do their dirty work, and in turn they get rewarded. Like this is as obvious as it gets. Nobody is going to provide you with this kind of evidence to show you that Bad Guy Land is the victim or that they're good. Not a single fucking one of you can provide anything to the contrary. According to Plus 972, Act.io was the centerpiece of a digital campaign called 4IL, for Bad Guy Land, announced in 2017 by Gilad Erdan. Then the Minister of Strategic Affairs, for the promotion of Bad Guy Land and delegitimization of boycott, divestment, and sanctions, BDS. The Act.io app would assign users missions to challenge social media posts it considered to be critical of Bad Guy Land or in favor of the BDS movement. Erdan called it the Iron Dome of Truth. Act.io was a joint project of the private Bad Guy Land University, who gives a fuck, and the US-based Bad Guy Land American Council, which was funded by Sheldon Adelson and company. The Maccabee Task Force, another one of Sheldon Adelson's foundations, is a major funder of Act.io. So you have dual American Bad Guy Land citizens funding apps and operations to attack anyone critical of a foreign country and to promote their Hasbara, which is a word they invented to cover up the idea that they're using propaganda. It initially meant propaganda, but they changed it and said, well, there is no indirect translation, so it's more like explaining. It's explaining. The organization behind Act.io is staffed by former intelligence officers and has a collegial relationship with the Bad Guy Land intelligence community. It has a close relationship with Bad Guy Land's Minister of Strategic Affairs, which combats the BDS movement, which it views as a threat. Think about this, man. Think about how crazy this is. Like, and again, look at the comments, right? Look at how the comments just keep going. Not one of these comments condemns genocide. Not one of these comments condemns pedophiles. They just say stupid shit. And it's you know, the thing is, they would say less by saying nothing. You know, they say plenty with what they do say. The fact that they don't engage, they don't argue, they don't deny, they don't, defend, they don't debunk, they don't do any of those things. Somebody says, nobody cares while I have 85 viewers watching. And the person that said that has been watching for 45 minutes and has been here day after day after day because nobody cares. Pretty interesting how stupid you have to be. That's if you open up the books on Bad Guy Land, you demonize Bad Guy Land, kind of stupid. But that's what they do. This is who they are. Right? Not a single one of these people is going to deny being a pedo. Until you kind of point it out. Like, I've called them pedos multiple times and not one of them is even bothered by it. That should tell you something, right? Look at these these comments. Right? Like, look at how desperately stupid they are. Nothing is more, like, the number one trending story right now is the war and the genocide. Yet these guys seemingly want to talk about anything but. And what can they possibly say? Everything they say is going to, truly out them. So they just have to keep quiet about it. Keep trying to change the subject. Why do you think that is? So Hasbara is the public diplomacy of Bad Guy Land, or Hasbara, includes mass communication and individual interaction with foreign nationals through social and traditional media, as well as cultural diplomacy. Organizations involved include the IDF Spokesperson Unit, Prime Minister's Office, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and pro-Bad Guy Land civil society organizations. Historically, these efforts have evolved from being called propaganda by early Zionists when the term was considered neutral, with Theodore Herzl advocating such activities in 1899, to the more contemporary Hebrew term Hasbara, introduced by Nahum Sokolov, which translates roughly to explaining. This communicative strategy seeks to justify actions and is considered reactive and event-driven. Right? Isn't that strange? It's like the claims are all there, and the thing is, I'm using Wikipedia, right? So Naftali Bennett was the last prime minister of Israel prior to Netanyahu, kinda. So within a 3-year span, just under 4 years, Israel had 5 prime ministers. It was Netanyahu, then it was Benny Gantz, then it was Netanyahu again, then it was this guy Naftali Bennett, who somewhere in early 2023, like May or something, June of 2023, stepped down so Yair Lapid could just take over. Like that just doesn't even, that doesn't make any sense. How does a prime minister just step down and some random other guy just takes over? Like, it's just such a fucking bad bunch of shit, right? And then when they put Netanyahu back in office, back in charge, and this coalition, including Itmar Ben-Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich and Avi Moaz and all of these other psychopaths, proven, psychopaths, some of which, like Itmar Ben-Gvir, has actually been in prison for inciting violence. Like, he's just a horrible guy. He's the guy that killed the prime minister of Israel that shook hands with the Ayatollah, was all about Iran peace. He's the guy that probably killed him, or at least organized it. 3 weeks prior to his death, Itmar Ben-Gvir is filmed with, forget the guy's name, the prime minister's name, because he's a piece of shit. But the hood ornament from his Cadillac, and he's showing it off, and he says, look, we got to his car, we can get to him. 3 weeks later, he's killed and nobody goes after this piece of shit. But Naftali Bennett, this is from when Wikipedia first went online. Or when Wikipedia first went online. Listen to what this piece of shit has to say.
Moetzet Yesha, in conjunction with My Israel, has arranged Instruction Day for wiki editors. The goal of the day is to teach people how to edit in Wikipedia, which is the #1 source of information today in the world. As a way of example, if someone searches the Gaza flotilla, we want to be there. We want to be the guys who influence what is written there, how it's written, and to ensure that it's balanced and Zionist in nature.
I came here to learn.
The guy that becomes the prime minister of Bad Guy Land is on video. I mean, again, I can't provide you guys any more evidence than I already do. I don't know what else you guys need to be able to see. But this guy is literally saying that they control Wikipedia. They're there teaching the editors how to edit things so that they have a balanced and Zionist perspective. He wants to be there. He wants Bad Guy Land to be there to control what people read. So when I'm using Wikipedia as a source, I'm actually using what they want us to know. They want us to know that this is what they do. And the thing is, they have to sort of talk about a lot of this shit because it exists. It's in the societal lexicon, right? That's weird. It exists, so they have to talk about it. And what they're doing is putting the best foot forward that they can. Right? This is the they've scrutinized things, and they've made it as pro-Zionist as they possibly can, and it still makes them look like pieces of shit. That's how bad these fucking people are. By the way, if you are watching, like, share, sub, don't forget that shit. It helps. If you oppose genocide, like, share, sub. If you're not a fan of slavery or pedophilia, like, share, sub. Show the system, show the pro Bad Guy Land system that we don't support them. Just think about how crazy this is. Look at the comments. Look at how nobody is saying anything that matters. Or if they do, it's something stupid like genocide is not happening in Gaza. Right. Yeah. This random profile knows, yet all the talking heads and all the people around the world that are saying it, all the videos that show it, it's all fake. It's all nothing. Like, this is just how desperate and stupid they are. They can't actually make reasonable comments, so this is what they do. You guys remember this clip from Where in the World is Osama bin Laden? Morgan Spurlock went to the Middle East and walked around and talked to people and leaders and all these other things from the whole region, talking about what's going on. Never once got attacked, was welcomed everywhere he went. Like, it was peaceful, good process. He went to Bad Guy Land and he was attacked within minutes. The only time you ever see the armed gunmen that are there protecting him is when he's in Bad Guy Land.
Questions about a little bit.
No.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on the current conflict. But no, everything's happening. It's all an illusion. Yeah.
It's all an illusion. And he goes running away like a coward because they're fucking cowards.
How you doing? Can I ask you a couple questions? Yeah. Yep. So somebody just threw a water balloon at us.
Oh, hang on. We have somebody flying the pedo flag. If you fly the pedo flag, you gotta go.
They're going to chase us away, and they're gathering numbers now. So there's a big flock of people going to chase us. Yeah. I'm not. So I'm not allowed to talk to anybody in the country?
Here's one of my favorite ones. Another pedo flag flyer. Ooh, we've got lots of pedo flag flyers. You point out that they're flying the pedo flag and they start flying it like crazy. Interesting how that works. Why do you care about this genocide but not others? See, this is how they do it. Because there's never been another genocide that's been so brazenly put in front of us. Here we go, more and more pedophile flag flyers with their fake bot accounts that they'll just make a new one for. Right? Yep, you know what? Here, let me help you. Watch this. Isn't that interesting? I care about my viewership so much. I whine about my viewership, yet I'm confident enough to block bot profiles. Interesting how that works.
Inspiration struck.
Interesting how that works. Massacre kills 51 people at UN aid site in Gaza. Look, there's no genocide happening. This is an ambush against the youth, not to feed them, but to kill them. Massacre kills 51 Palestinians waiting for food at UN aid distribution sites. Civilians running toward the area where food aid trucks are expected to arrive. Because, you know, they have to fight for food. Look at them just running over rubble. All the buildings are destroyed. Can you imagine how scary that would have to be? Crowds of civilians cutting under fire, running and covering under gunshots and explosions. Good God, man. This is just insane to me. Listen to the gunfire. All these people got out of their cars to run away too, right? Oh, explosions. All this to try to get something to eat. They're just trying to eat. They're trying to feed their children. I mean, even if you look at this and you look at it compared to the supposed videos from October 7th, most of the video is facing down to the ground so you can't see anything. You know, people are fake crying and shit. This is pretty obvious. Look at how destroyed the whole area is. Look at all around them. Look at the background of all those buildings just destroyed. Look at that shit. Imagine what it's like at nighttime there, how scary that is. Bodies arrive at Gaza hospital after witnesses say dozens killed while waiting for aid. Witnesses say that, not that's what's literally happening. I mean, massacre, they're about massacre, young children, mothers, massacre. I searched for my brothers and cousins and did not find any of them. What is the situation we are living in? Have mercy on us. What? It is, man. It just is what it is. Yep. Son fell into a coma. They went to get flour. God is sufficient for us. They hit us. They had 3 of them. My 2 brothers and nephew. One was injured. We want flour. We don't want food. We don't want drink. We don't want anything. What's happening is forbidden. They are killing young men. Look, tears on her face. There's actually tears on her face. Oh, look. There's the actual footage that can't be shown because you can't show that kind of shit on here. He's been lost for the sake of God. He is a martyr like other martyrs. This is our fate. We lost our homes. We lost our land. But we thank God because they're fucking stupid. Another dead body. Another dead body. Look at the place around them. Look how destroyed everything is around them. More dead bodies. We went to get a bag of flour. We moved a little forward at the crossroads. The people went to check their house. They fired an F-16 missile directly targeting us. After that, they fired an F-16 again. People were in huge numbers. Now they are lying in the street. About the same number of those who were evacuated out. The people are under the rubble that they cannot reach. And after fired random shells and gunfire, whoever could escape, escaped. And the injuries are terrible. Most of them are shot in the neck and in the head. All this fake footage. Dumbass says, I'm sure Jesus would hate it. Sure, Jesus would. That's why Jesus does nothing about it at all times. You stupid, stupid fucking Christians, man. You're so embarrassingly stupid. That you fall for that bad guy land fairy tale to begin with. I mean, it's just horrendous, man. It's horrendous. And that video was tame. That video was tame comparatively. Look at the dumbass comments. I love the Trump supporters that are so stupid they can only say the pull cord responses. Trump, Trump. That's all they can do because they can't actually acknowledge anything happening. It really is embarrassing, and it's really fucking scary because it just shows you just how sick the vast majority of these the pedophile white people here in the United States are. These pedo supporters. I mean, you know, the whole Katie Johnson story should be one of the biggest stories in existence, and it's been just completely covered up. You know, and the craziest part is like so many of the Trump supporters think that Trump is like their guy. These people that don't have a few $1 million in the bank think that Trump is their guy. Like Trump would like them. Trump would hang out with them. It's such a weird fucking delusional, you know, just brainwash. They're just brainwashed. What's my solution? We need to end the cult immediately. The cult. Ending the cult is the key to this. That's the only way you can fix this problem. The cult has to be ended before any of this can happen. It's not bad guy land. Bad guy land is just the name given to this fucking, this invisible house of theirs. But the cult that it houses is the real problem. I'm telling you, this is like, you have to be a pedophile to support the cult. Because that's what they do. They have ritual sexual abuse is a huge problem in their community. There's an article by a Bad Guy Land website, Bad Guy Land reporters. Everything about it is Bad Guy Land. And it talks about the ritual sexual abuse that is rampant in Bad Guy Land. It's how you create such violent, empty, unempathetic, not compassionate people. It's how you create such monsters, is you destroy them as children. And it's literally what they do. Like it's more evidence of it that people just want to ignore. There's no evidence to the contrary. It's it's a very well documented narrative. Let's see. Oh, it's hard to find if I just look it up by title, so let's look up. Bad Guy Land, ritual, sexual abuse. Belch. All right, so it's called Bottom of Darkness. I'm surprised it didn't come out. I guess I'm not surprised, but. So you can see the name of this website. It's really hard to read too, because it keeps all sorts of cookies and shit keep popping up. Bad Guy Hayom. Bad Guy Hayom. This is where we stand. Bottom of Darkness. Children raped in ritual ceremonies. Expose the horrors. Multiple women recount organized abuse, including ritual ceremonies conducted by people they knew, even close family, after months of interviews with victims, their families, treatment professionals. Damn it. Drops falling. And experts in Bad Guy Land and abroad, with a disturbing picture emerges, which descriptions difficult to read. I suffered painful sodomy, truly felt like I was splitting in two. It was a terrible experience, but there's something about these things, perhaps in their strangeness, that's like maybe the hardest component is that if you tell people about these things, they'll think you're crazy. I remember many types of severe sexual abuse, but there's something about these ritualistic abuses that makes them the bottom of darkness. In direct words and with a clear voice, Iman, pseudonym like all the victim names in this article, describes the severe abuse she allegedly experienced in her childhood. Organized sexual abuse that included ceremonies with supposed religious significance. Horrifying ceremonies in which religious people, some from her own family, sacrificed her as an offering for spiritual transcendence or redemption. Imana is not alone. More than 10 women between the ages of 20 and 45 with whom we spoke describe as severe phenomenon, raising serious concerns that in Bad Guy Land, like many countries worldwide, organized sexual abuse of children is occurring right under everyone's noses. Perhaps the world knows that rape occurs, that incest occurs, but the world doesn't know, Imana said. These acts have been kept secret for years, perhaps because of their insanity. It was always very, very strange, as if there was an internal logic, but it was so crazy. Very strange things happen there, normalized in a ritualistic and orderly manner. There's a specific time. There's when to say this verse and when to say that. There's an order, as if things are supposed to be done this way. Each woman we interviewed during our investigation has a different life story. They come from different areas of the country, from north to south. Each is at a different place in her life. Some are students, others work and manage careers and family lives, and there are also young women barely surviving, clinging to life by their fingernails. These women did not know each other previously, grew up in different communities, and come from different sectors and religious streams. Yet the ritual abuse stories they describe are similar in ways that compel us to listen and not turn a blind eye. Some were harmed in early childhood educational settings or in girls' schools, others in their family homes, yeshivas, or bad guy gogs. In this article, we present only a very small sample from many hours of interviews and information, and some descriptions in this article are difficult to read. The great fear expressed by everyone who spoke with us is the organized sexual abuse of children continues even today. Victim, sacrifice, punishment, correction, transcendence, redemption. These are reoccurring concepts in the testimonies. The prayers, the mutterings, the ecstasy surrounding the victims, the extreme pain, humiliation, and torture, the crushing of personality and soul. Testimony after testimony after testimony from women who experienced organized childhood abuse that included group rape performed within ceremonial and ritual frameworks. We met these women over the past few months. We spoke with family members of some victims, with treatment professionals, and with experts in bad guy land and abroad, specializing in trauma and disassociation, a range of conditions from emotional detachment to complete disconnection from feelings, sensations, memories, and more. We collected information about organized ritual child abuse, a phenomenon recognized worldwide. The picture emerging from all gathered information is disturbing and difficult. It requires, at minimum, a deep and meaningful investigation by law enforcement authorities. But it doesn't get it. It is a religious national mission. It is a religious national mission to expose this phenomenon and uncover the truth. A treatment professional in the religious community familiar with the details of the phenomenon told Bad Guy Land Hayom. Most women we interviewed came from religious Zionists or ultra-Orthodox communities, although Shishabet received additional testimonies about similar cases in secular society. Therefore, it is important to emphasize that these findings don't target any specific sector, but rather direct a beam of light toward suspected crimes of the most severe kind imaginable, crimes committed in a parallel world transparent to sight through deeply dark and sinister. Several rabbis' names appeared repeatedly in some testimonies. Some complaints filed at different police stations around the country were all closed relatively quickly. Even when suspicions arose previously about a network of harming children in Jerusalem, police investigators at best lacked sufficient tools or knowledge to properly investigate. Sounds like a pretty lame excuse from the most, technically superior advanced region in the country, in the area. A man named Benjamin Satz was convicted and sentenced in 2013. God damn it. This article is so crazy hard to read because it just keeps fucking up. To imprisonment for committing indecent acts and sodomy against girls and boys ages 5 to 8. Another suspect was acquitted due to reasonable doubt. In practice, dozens of children remained traumatized and required years of emotional therapy. I remember a pentagram on the floor, usually in red. When the ceremony was in the forest, the pentagram was marked with a hoe and surrounded by lit candles in a circle. The rabbis would blessed who releases the bound, men around the prayer with prayer shawls, sometimes dressed in black, while the rabbi wore a white robe. There were several men, boys around the ages of 16 and 17 who participated in ceremonies for spiritual transcendence. There was one time they asked me to dig a hole and lie in it. Other times they injected me with something and said, "Now you'll feel better," after which my body went limp. They would repeatedly read psalms like a Psalm of David, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." They told me, "You are special, you are chosen," and they would insert, I remember, a palm branch, Hanukkah candles, and a shofar. Limor, another pseudonym, grew up in a religious ultra-Orthodox home. Her father, she says, always acted violently towards her and her mother. Throughout the years, She required medical treatment at a hospital and was accompanied by a professional due to injuries caused by the violent abuse she experienced. According to her testimony, her father was the one who brought her to these ceremonies. Being delivered by family members is characteristic of many testimonies we gathered. Limor says sometimes the ceremony took place in a forest, other times in a secluded apartment. There are instances when she witnessed and heard other children being abused. Testimony regarding additional child victims repeats across multiple cases. In many testimonies we documented, women also participate in the ceremonies and abuse. Organized rape of children is one of the most horrifying phenomena I encounter, Dr. Annette Gur said, a psychotherapist specializing in treating women in trauma, head of the psychotherapy program for sexual trauma treatment at Bar Ilan University and the Tel Aviv Rape Crisis Center. So I would imagine they kind of know what they're talking about. It's a phenomenon probably much more widespread than we imagine. It exists in many places you wouldn't expect to find it. Boaz, another pseudonym, a senior treatment professional in the religious community, agrees. The abusers are typically not outsiders in the community. One patient told me, understand, he's the one who blows the shofar at Rosh Hashanah. The shofar symbolizes a channel. The person considered most spiritually worthy blows the shofar because he is closest to God. And he is the one telling her she is evil and that he's helping her with her atonement in this lifetime. Do you understand the distortion? Jesus Christ. Beyond the women who dared to meet and speak with bad guy Hoyam, professionals possess information about additional victims who report sadistic ritual abuse during childhood. The content emerging from these accounts shows remarkable similarities. From all gathered information, it appears that in most cases, the sexual abuse began in very early childhood at home, perpetuated by a father, grandfather, or other family member. In other cases, the abuse occurred in educational or therapeutic settings. What I observed over the years, Dr. Gur said, is that whoever endures these things, See, now the page just got all fucked up. I don't even know where the fuck I was. And it keeps, Jesus Christ, it just fucks up. I gotta pull this shit back up. God damn it. More Boaz. Beyond the women who dared to meet, professionals, the content emerging from these accounts shows remarkable similarities. Gathering home therapeutics. What I observed over the years, Dr. Gur said, is that whoever endures these things suffers catastrophic damage. That's also one of the challenges with exposure. The victims are so shattered that they are difficult to believe. The more cruel and sadistic the abusers are, and the younger the victims, and the more horrifying the abuse, the smaller the chance that perpetrators will face justice because there is no one left to testify. The abusers so thoroughly destroy the victims' souls that it becomes a crime without witness, which of course serves a society that continues to abuse or maintain these rituals. Looks like they shut off the comment section yet again. Gee, I wonder why they shut off the comment section when I started reading this. Dr. Joanne Silberg, an international expert in treating dissociative disorder among children and adolescents, and former president of the International Society for Trauma and Disassociation, guided the treatment of 70 children who allegedly fell victim to organized abuse in Bad Guy Land over 5 years. Jesus Christ. $70 children over 5 years. In chapter 14 of her book, The Child Survivor, she describes the severe symptoms the children suffered due to multiple forms of abuse, physical, sexual, emotional, and spiritual. Dr. Silberg notes several sources for the numerous testimonies about the cases of organized abuse in Jerusalem. In one case, reported in professional literature, a child abused in bad guy land and treated in the U.S. described how several men tortured him and recalled an incident where they submerged his head underwater. Made him think he was going to die. Descriptions of sadistic abuse appear consistently across all testimonies we collected, as in Imuna's story. There was a ceremony like a circumcision that I underwent. I was 10 or 11. It took place in the settlement's bad guy Gog. They tied me up. Fuck. And of course, the page fucks up. They tied me up, similar to the binding of Isaac, and wounded my genitals. My father is there. My mother is there. A rabbi from the settlement. I'm tied to a table, looking at the window and imagining how I could jump through it, how I might tie a rope and rappel down to the stones. I constantly wanted it to not be happening. That's what characterizes it. I continuously thought about how it wasn't happening, how I could escape. I kept telling myself I wasn't there. It's extremely difficult to understand that I was actually there, that it's me, a bound child. Jesus Christ. If you're watching, like, share, and sub. If you hate this shit and you want it exposed, like, share, and sub. Organized sexual abuse occurs, not as noted, throughout the world. Researcher Michael Salter defines it as a conspiracy of several attackers to abuse several victims. Oh, that's pretty. Rabbi Dr. Udi Furman quotes in his article, Ritual Abuse in Bad Guy Land, Salter's definition of ritual abuse as an ideological framing in organized context of child sexual abuse, functioning as strategic practices through which abusive groups instill in victims a misogynistic worldview violently to control them. That's why you see them being such horrible people. Videos where, somebody is interviewing someone who claims to be a soldier, and he talks about how, fuck yeah, I rape all the babies, I cut off their heads. Says these things thinking he looks good. In other words, Rabbi Furman writes in his article, ritual abuse occurs when a religious, political, or spiritual authority uses their position of power to manipulate victims, belief systems, and thereby control them. According to him, ritual abuse is primarily a strategy employed by groups involved in producing images of child abuse, child prostitution, and other forms of organized abuse, and does not constitute a separate category of violence. Rabbi Furman also presents research by Joanna Schroederer and additional researchers from Germany who examined attitudes among 165 adults who testified that they were victims of organized ritual sexual abuse, as well as attitudes of 174 professionals who supported victims of this type of abuse. In 88% of the reports from both groups, therapists and victims, identical ideological expression emerged. The ideological content and objectives were also presented in a similar order. Justification of violence, justification of sexual... Oh, God damn it. Justification of sexual exploitation and maintaining power and control, followed by maintaining group commitment and ensuring redemption. The researchers concluded that ideologies are primarily means to justify organized sexual violence, Rabbi Froman said. However, in this article, Froman argues that some reports in Bad Guy Land suggest ideology wasn't merely a means to justify organized sexual violence, but formed the foundation of the abuse. Rabbi Furman, there's a Froman and there's a Furman. I'm not saying it wrong. Rabbi Furman references, for example, the Naholat case, which is one of many similar cases, most occurring in ultra-Orthodox neighborhoods. For instance, a private ultra-Orthodox court writes that ritual sexual abuse is cruel and frequent, accompanied by traumatic, accusatory, and confusing ceremonies. The abuse is carried out by large criminal organizations and or cults and or secret organizations with financial investment and recruitment of assisting personnel. The abuse carries for its perpetrators substantial profits, such as satisfaction of deviant urges, commerce, and I hate calling it pornography because it's child exploitation materials. Pornography is something that adults agree to and they're paid, and it's adults. Who gives a shit? This isn't that. Threats and extortion and more. According to Furman, the court document describes the practice of organized abuse from preparing the scene through recruiting collaborators from educational institutions and transportation drivers to the ceremonies themselves. The ceremony takes place under the leadership of an important rabbi. After a Torah lesson, approximately every 2 weeks, parents gathered with children for what is called soul correction. All couples recite psalms together, sing verses repeatedly with melody, while standing without clothes. They stand in a circle, naked, praying, lighting candles. The children are positioned in the middle of the circle, also naked. Jesus. In the document, intended for parents, educators, and rabbis, the ultra-Orthodox court, Shari Mishpat, in Jerusalem, details numerous methods and actions taken by abusers, aiming to warn and raise awareness of this spreading phenomenon and to protect children. Among other things, the document states that to shield themselves from exposure, abusers deliberately act in extreme ways contrary to logic, quote, so that even if children tell, they will sound completely delusional. I can't imagine a child telling me about this shit, me going, oh, you're just making it up. This is just horrendous. And it's not like you see the bad guy land government talking about it and talking about how they need to spend a whole bunch of the American tax dollars we give them to rid their society of this. No one talks about it. In a partial list, actions are described including abusers using disguises and masks alongside sadistic torture such as forcing children's hands into boiling water, submerging them underwater for several seconds, or threatening them with aggressive animals to frighten them and intensify the trauma effect. Additional mentions... here we go. God damn it. I don't even know where the fuck I was. Now it's... Or is this... No, this went to a different article altogether. You ever seen somebody have such a hard time reading an article that shit just keeps popping up and it keeps shutting down? And why would that happen? No, look at this. It keeps popping this shit up. Additional methods include to intensify them and the trauma effect. Additional mentioned actions include inserting objects and work or kitchen tools into children. To humiliate children and instill feelings of guilt and shame, perpetrators show them pictures of themselves naked or give them food while telling them they ate carrion, organize mock wedding ceremonies between children, force them to eat feces, and stage their own burials. They collapse all self-trust and ability to resist, Rabbi Froman said. The regular, frequent abuse is so destructive that the children despair of normality, and the abuse becomes their life routine. Oh, okay. Psychiatrists have diagnosed a complete personality fracture in the normal part, allowing the child to continue functioning normally in school. According to Dr. Solberg, in each group, individual participants may have their own motives, such as sexual deviations, bizarre ideological affiliations that include conducting ceremonies or economic enrichment, for example, through human trafficking for sexual exploitation or producing images of child sexual abuse. These motives are not necessarily shared by all members. Well, that's good. Dr. Silberg further notes, again, and the comments have been shut off, so if you're wondering why I'm not saying anything, it's because the comments have been shut off, surprisingly. Like, share, and sub. Dr. Silberg notes that networks engaged in producing and distributing child sexual abuse materials, including organized abuse, have been exposed worldwide, and despite reoccurring almost ideological skepticism, there have been several successful convictions of members of organized abuse networks worldwide. Right. Keep trying to justify it by saying, well, it happens all over. Because it's a Dr. Silberg or a Froman or whatever that is telling you, is even though it's horrible, even though they're against it supposedly and all this other shit, they're still trying to soften it. Well, this does happen worldwide. It's not like it's just here. Like, that needs to keep being said for some reason. Over the years, there have been multiple examples of cases where authorities successfully exposed and convicted members of such networks. According to Dr. Silberg, as well as other researchers, since the development of the internet, and especially the emergence of peer-to-peer networks and the dark web, the phenomenon of sexual assaults on children has intensified significantly. These are the youngest and most vulnerable victims in society, it is claimed. Live streaming platforms from home allow children to be exploited in front of a camera, and videos of the acts to be broadcast worldwide without leaving traces. On the other side of the screen, cyber investigation specialists recognize the high demand among consumers for the most horrific videos, including sadistic abuse of children. Like I say, I don't think most of you realize just how severe that is. You know, you must have to tell yourself this or that so you can give your children phones and things like that at a way too young of an age. But just put it in perspective for yourself. How many pedo hunters do you personally know of on YouTube? On just YouTube? You know, there are those who aren't even on YouTube because of the YouTube restrictions, and they belong to other platforms that you might not know of, Discords and, well, not Discord. I don't know. I don't know all those other things. I'm not real familiar with everything else. I'm old and stupid. But just think about how many you know of. And then these guys are catching people every day. They definitely don't catch everyone they talk to, but they're catching multiple people every single day. And they're probably getting hit up, you know, hundreds of times per day. They can barely keep up with it. Lots of guys have shown that all they do is create the profile, and within minutes, they're being hit up. Hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? You know, Chris Hansen's a great example of showing you just how frequently they're catching people. So if you think that, like, the amount of people being caught is so frequent that there's everyday catches in every community that exists, how many people aren't? How many people don't have the balls or the craziness to actually go and find it, and they're just okay with getting pictures sent to them? It's everywhere. Everywhere you look. Like on every single street that you live on. Sure, there might be somebody that's on the list, but that's because that person got caught. There are people just everywhere. Your neighbors. Your neighbors. It's everywhere. It's so much worse than we think. And like, personally, I've said this for years now. I think it would make much more sense to create a pedo hunter organization that gets that $3.8 billion a year given to bad guy land. I think that would benefit everyone a hell of a lot more than giving bad guy land this this cash to do whatever they want with. And I don't know, why would anybody disagree with me on that? Why would any legitimate, decent, real person, think that we should, instead of creating a very, very good, I think Gordon Flowers, as much as he's a chosen piece of shit, he does an amazing job. He really is amazing the way that he's crafted his program to get these guys to admit things that they normally wouldn't admit. The way that he plays like he's on their side, hey, I'm just trying to help you out and all this other shit. The way that he hears the most horrendous things and maintains his cool, like, it's incredible. It really is incredible how great at his job this guy is. Yet I don't see him saying anything about the children being killed in Palestine or anything like that. He's quiet about that. And he's a huge Trump supporter who is like, he's an obvious pedo who was best friends with Epstein for many, many years and has been charged many, many times. It just goes away. Again, look up Katie Johnson. But when you think about like Gordon Flowers is catching these guys every single day, how many could there possibly be? It has to be way worse than any of you can even begin to imagine. It really does have to be so goddamn prolific for them to have the success they have. And the fact that the United States doesn't have, like I said earlier, there's the official government task force to combat anti-Semitism, but there's not the official government task force to combat, pedophilia. Where the fuck is that? You guys have to see what's going on here. Right? It's just so insane. I mean, just look at Christians. When you say the word pedophile, if you say priest isn't one of the first words that pop in your head, you're lying. You're fucking lying. And for the main Christian Catholic organization out there to be so associated with pedophilia just doesn't make any sense. Other than, it was created by and for pedos, and that seems to be the real key, the real truth. When you look at this organization that was created, that, to be the highest ranking leaders, you have to be a virgin. You have to be willing to give up everything and just go against your biological urges. And it's a bunch of creepy weirdos who like to play dress up and fucking rape children. I mean, it's so consistently documented that the churches is where the most abuse takes place. The churches in Hollywood and the government. And it's just nothing. I don't get it. The Obama emails talking about hot dogs and pizza. All this crazy shit that just doesn't make sense in the the normal society we live in. It just, those kinds of emails just don't make sense otherwise. And yet people are just okay with it, I guess. I don't really understand. I cannot understand how anybody is okay with any of it and not furious and not demanding that their system do more about it. And they should be killed. There's no second chance. There's no, gonna pray it away or get some treatment or anything like that. Those people should be killed. And really, I've said this for a while. We should set up a program where we acknowledge that there are psychopaths in our society. There are people that like to rape and kill people. So why not say, look, if you're willing to not do it to innocent people, and you're willing to be in our program here, then once a year or whatever the amount of people caught provides, you're given one of these pieces of shit that you can rape and torture and do whatever you want to. You know, that makes all of us safer. And it gets rid of the problem, because we definitely shouldn't have to pay for them to live in a special wing of the prison where they have Super Nintendos and they're fucking, you know, protected from what should be coming their way. Why the fuck would who agrees with that? Who would ever agree to such insanity?
Then I need to wake up. Oh wait, I need to just go find mom.
Right? Who would ever be like, no, that's the good way to do it. I'm actually okay with that. Nobody wants their tax dollars to be given to protect pedos. Nobody believes they should get second chances. You know, nobody real, at least. I mean, this article goes on and on and on. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I did not too long ago. But it's just horrendous. I just cannot understand why anybody is so silent about all of this. I can't understand what...
Right, did you try on the hotspot then?
Yep, sure did.
I'll ask mom.
I can't understand what makes people... But the thing is, you know, I say I can't understand, but again, people have to understand that a vast majority of the shit talkers on here are bots. And they're not just regular bots, they're bad guy land bots. It's Team Jorge. It's Act.IL. It's well documented programs where the bad guys are doing this and consistently doing this kind of shit and getting away with it and protecting each other. I absolutely stand with Iran in all of this. Because they've never, you know, the only threats they've ever made towards us is, hey, if you attack us, we're going to fight back. They don't ever threaten us. They definitely don't threaten us like bad guy land does. Netanyahu wrote a book in 1995 threatening that if the Western society doesn't wake up to the menace of Islam, that the towers would be taken down, that the towers would be brought down. Yet according to Bush and all of the other cronies, they had no idea that that planes could ever be thought to be used and to take down buildings. And Netanyahu wrote it in his book. It was a threat. It wasn't a warning. It was a threat. If you guys don't do what we say, we're going to bring the towers down. You know, the dancing Israelis is a well-documented thing. These guys who were set up prior to the first plane hitting, filmed it, danced, you know, had a good time. Then the second plane hit and they danced and somebody called the cops on them. And they got arrested. And, you know, I don't know if you want to say pass or failed the lie detectors, but it was proven that they were Mossad. And instead of getting in trouble, they were just sent back to bad guy land. And they went on TV and they bragged about what they did and their whole thing. None of this is some conspiracy theory that crazy guy Williams is making up. This is all well documented insanity. I forgot to give you the rest of the money we took out last night.
Oh, okay. Yep.
I mean, I just don't understand what motivates people anymore. Like, even if you claim you're an America First person, you're clearly not. If you're not demanding that the U.S. cut all ties with bad guy land, you clearly aren't America First. They definitely aren't. And these are just the worst of the worst people in the world. I just got done reading you a portion of an article that lays out how ritualistic sexual abuse is one of their favorite things. How does that exist? How could that possibly exist in a modern society that is supposedly the good guys? I'm just shocked, man. I'm shocked. I'm shocked that I'm living in these times and like that this is the world that's around me, and it's so obvious. I spent years saying all these things from the fringe, you know, being the guy that was told repeatedly, you can't say those things, don't say those things, you know. And now I just, it's like I don't even have to. I used to read you guys Bad Guy Land news every day. Oh, well, there goes the comments completely. I used to read you guys Bad Guy Land news every day because it was leading up to this, and I was proving to you that this is what's going to happen. It's clearly, you know, setting up that way. And instead, it's you know, now it's just like I feel like I'm just bragging for the system by reading it. Because it's such ugly, disgusting shit. And it just doesn't seem to matter. There doesn't seem to be this high level outcry. Where are all the actors, actresses? Where are all the musicians? Are we to believe that you know, the musicians, all these creative people who are, you know, empathetic and connected to the world and shit, none of them are making songs condemning what's happening? Why? Why are the artists of the world all so silent if it's not because they're owned, they're controlled? How do you describe it? How do you make it make sense? And I know I'm asking questions that I can't see the responses to. But that's always a blessing in disguise, I guess, because, you know, I get stuck reading dumbass comments that have nothing to do with what's being said because they can't. They literally can't say anything against what I'm saying. I believe this feed to be severely compromised at this point, and I'm wondering even how much you guys can see. So I wonder if I should just reset one last time. You know, for the 4th time. This is wild, man. This has been a wild fucking journey. I know at the end of the day, I will always feel like a decent human being because I know I'm on the side of right. You know, I know I'm on the good guy side. This cult is just disgusting. Whether you believe it's a satanic cult or, you know, you've grown beyond those fairy tales, those childish fairy tales. You know, this cult is the antithesis of what's good. You know, this cult epitomizes everything that's wrong with humanity. And it needs to be removed as soon as possible. So, in the description, you'll find the link to the website, www.the-bilderberg-group.com. Go get your free download. It'll ask you how much you want to pay. You just click 0 and it's free, or you could donate, and we appreciate the donations. I'm also going to leave you a link to the most important piece of film ever made, which is Hollywoodism. And it's that way because they made it, not because someone like me made it, because they made it. And I'm going to leave you a link to the Facebook page, 2 of our songs, COVID Sauce and Donald Trump Hates America, where you can share those, like those, do all that. Do something to help. Don't just be the dumb goyim you're supposed to be. Have a great day. Pedophiles, kill yourself.